Have you ever found yourself wondering why it feels so incredibly hard to really move on from a past relationship? Or maybe you've seen someone, seemingly stuck on an ex for years, even when they seem to be trying to move forward.
Yeah, it's a really common experience, isn't it?
It really is. And today we're doing a deep dive into some, well, pretty fascinating research. It gives us a surprising look into the actual timeline the human brain seems to follow to let go of a former love. Our mission really is to unpack the psychology behind it and the surprisingly long time it can apparently take.
Right.
And here's the bit that grabbed me right away. Our source material suggests the brain takes an average, get this, 8 years. 8 years to forget an old partner. Okay, let's try and unpack that number. It seems huge.
It does, yeah. And it catches a lot of people by surprise, I think.
Yeah.
That struggle to really fully disconnect after a breakup is so common, and we almost always underestimate how long that emotional processing actually takes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, the initial sadness fading. It's more about your brain fundamentally reorganizing itself, how it connects memories, future plans, even your sense of self away from that person who is so central.
Wow.
So yeah, 8 years. It really highlights how deep these attachments can run.
8 years. That is just such a long time. So what's actually happening in the brain during all those years? Why do we hold on so tightly even when we, consciously want to move on?
Well, what's really interesting here is that it goes way beyond just simple memory, like remembering their birthday or something.
Yeah.
The research suggests our brains build these incredibly deep neural pathways around a significant relationship.
Okay.
So even if new people come into your life, there's often this nagging feeling, maybe subconscious, that they can't quite, replace the ex. It's not necessarily a conscious comparison game.
Right.
It's more like a deep-seated emotional connection that's still there. Plus, many people find they sort of unconsciously drift back towards old relationship patterns or dynamics they had with that previous partner. It's almost like your emotional GPS keeps trying to reroute you back to a place that's familiar, even if it's not somewhere you can or should go anymore.
That emotional GPS analogy. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, okay, if this sort of true forgetting takes 8 years on average, does that mean we're just stuck in limbo for almost a decade? Surely things get better before then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really crucial point in the research. While that complete emotional detachment might average out to 8 years, the really intense feelings of those vivid, almost constant memories, they do start to fade significantly much earlier. Around the 4-year mark seems to be a key milestone.
4 years. Okay.
At that point, the ex often starts shifting in your mind. They transition from being this central, highly charged emotional figure to being perceived more like, just an acquaintance. Someone from your past. Yeah. But without that same intense emotional pull. It's a definite shift in your internal landscape.
But life isn't always that straightforward, is it? What about situations where maybe you share kids or you work together or, maybe someone keeps checking their ex's social media? Does that kind of contact just mess everything up? Does it reset the clock?
It can definitely prolong the process, sometimes significantly.
Yeah.
And this brings up a really interesting point about how these external things interact with our internal healing process.
Right.
The material we looked at really highlights how continued contact, whether it's, like you said, secretly checking up on them online or having total legitimate reasons you need to talk or meet it, acts like an anchor. These interactions can prevent those old emotional ties, those neural pathways we talked about, from fully fading into the background. It slows down that natural process of emotional reorganization.
So it's like picking at a stab, maybe?
Exactly. It's like constantly reopening a wound just as it's trying to heal over.
Okay, so it's not just this passive thing we have to wait out then. The research also mentions something crucial about personal choice, about agency. What if someone, for whatever reason, chooses not to move on?
Yes, precisely. That's hugely important. This 8-year timeline isn't set in stone purely by biology.
Yeah.
While our brains might have this sort of average processing period for significant loss, our choices, our personal agency, play an immense role. If someone actively chooses not to move on, maybe they hold on to hope, or they refuse to engage with new possibilities, or just keep dwelling on what was lost, then yeah, the process can definitely stretch out, sometimes well beyond that 8-year average.
Okay.
But the flip side is also true. Actively engaging in self-care, setting firm boundaries, consciously focusing on building a new life and new experiences that can potentially help speed up that natural healing process. It really underscores how much our conscious decisions matter in this.
So, pulling this all together for you listening, what this deep dive really shows us is that letting go isn't like flipping a switch. It's a journey, often taking years, and it's profoundly shaped by our own will, our choices along the way.
Yeah, and if we look at the bigger picture, it's a powerful reminder, isn't it? While our basic psychology provides a kind of framework, our active participation, our choices, they're incredibly influential in how quickly or slowly we navigate these major emotional shifts. The brain's average timeline is maybe a guidepost, but your personal agency, that's ultimately the compass directing the journey.
So here's something to think about. Is truly forgetting someone about erasing the past entirely? Or is it maybe more about reshaping what that past means to you in your present life? And how much of moving on is really just about time passing versus how much is about actively, consciously deciding to forge a new path forward? Definitely something for you to ponder.